Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm going to speak quickly because I'm trying to keep this short. I've tried about 8 times already. First off, let's look at the Supreme Court ruling that everyone's talking about right now, overturning Roe versus Wade. Let me correct 2 misconceptions first that are commonly held by everybody. Number 1, Jane Roe, whose real name I forgot, from what I've been told, had to lie and say that a non-existent gang of non-existent Negroes snuggled her to get that ruling passed through. Now, I don't know, I didn't see the links to prove that, but if Dennis Sperling posted that, chances are it's true because he's an attorney. So it's in his best interest to not lie about court cases. That's actually risky for practicing attorneys to do. That's the first thing. Second thing, understand. I want y'all to keep this in mind about the overturning of it. Overturning Roe versus Wade was not the Supreme Court saying it's illegal all throughout the United States. It is the Supreme Court saying it's up to the states and the territories to make these rulings on their own. They choose. And different states have already reacted differently. So there are states that have said, well, it's illegal. Our residents have to leave the state to do it. There are states that have said it's illegal, and if our residents leave the state to do it elsewhere, we'll prosecute them if we catch them. Other states have said on the opposite ends of the spectrum, it's legal here. And other states, even further along that side of the spectrum, have said it's legal here. And if residents from out of state come in to get the procedure done, we will not cooperate with the state governments in which they're residents to help those states prosecute them. So states that, they made reactions all over the spectrum. My personal, my moral stance on that hot topic issue is the Islamic stance, hands down. If it is a struggle snuggle, if it is incest, if it is something outstanding like that, and it results in conception, which is very rare to happen, then from my understanding, the Sharia does allow that. These instances are also very rare. If it is a health issue, it's allowed. In a normal default conception, it's not allowed. It's not murder before the first 120 days, but it's something else. That's my stance on it. And those who know more about the Sharia than I do can correct me, but if you don't know more than I do, you can't come along and tell me I should feel differently about it. I'm not listening to that. Allah first. I'm a Muslim. You ask me, I'm going to tell you straight up, Allah is always right, his enemies are always wrong. End of. Now, that being said, now that we got those misconceptions out the way, what I want to state is that I myself have seen 2 different women. One saying this twice on 2 occasions, called for a 6 strike against men. And I'm not talking about the number 6. I'm just mispronouncing that about which I am talking. Cutting men off. No more. Don't worry about that. Here's why. Number 1, gentlemen, most of us are already shut out. That's the default. Stands for men, especially in the West. The default is you're shut out. That's the norm. That's the majority. That's the default. It's not even your fault. There is a minority of men that qualify in the eyes of women to form the rooster carousel on which they take their rides during their 3 or 4 phases. And we understand that the more time goes on, the more studies are taken and the more evidence comes out that more and more men are being shut out and fewer men are allowed to form this rooster carousel. I say the word allowed because there are men who are allowed to do it, qualified, and they choose not to. I don't know what the percentages of them is. Studies are going to come out and show these percentages later. I'm telling you these categories are bound to exist just based on the sheer number of people. So there are 3 categories of men. Number 1, the default majority, shut out. Number 2, those who can qualify to form the rooster carousel. And then number 3, those are right at the cusp. You could tell a man is at the cusp because attractive women don't fault each other for choosing these men, even when these same attractive women don't choose these men. So maybe Marcia. She's nice to look at. Visually speaking, she's a dime piece and she knows it. Finds that Claude is not her type. He's cute, but not her type. She has other options she happens to like better, so Claude's not her type. He'd probably do well in the pinch if, how that goes if she gets old and fat and has other men's kids. But Claude's not her type. However, she doesn't mind if her friend Penny does choose Claude. That's fine. Claude is at the cusp. Because Penny could also be a dime, but Penny's friends aren't going to blame her if she chooses him, even though they're simply looking at other men. They're not repulsed by him. That's the guy at the cusp. That third category, that's what Claude is. Those are the only ones that are going to see changes in the event of a sixth strike. And those men must be a small percentage of the male adult population. So very few men can be affected. I'm going to tell you the ones that are affected the least, and those are the Supreme Court judges that made the rule. Their intimate bedroom lives will not be changed by a sixth strike or the absence of one. And the women we already know in the West that are going the most likely to call for and even try to implement a sixth strike are not going to start saying no to the men they can't resist, and they're not going to start saying yes to the men that they've already told no, collectively. And for whom they would blame another woman if she said yes to these same men. So the strike ain't gonna work. Gentlemen, let me tell you what the real problem is. The problem is the stupidity of that idea and their willingness to openly express it. They feel comfortable typing on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, or looking into cameras and saying it, that women should go on a sixth strike against men that they know women aren't going to do, and that they're too dumb to think about the impossibility of succeeding because of how they're going to implement it. The problem is that they've called for this, and we men, I'm the first one I know of to say that's a dumb idea. Why the hell did these broads feel comfortable expressing it? That's our fault, partially. See, as I stated, we men have done nothing wrong except for being too easy. We have done nothing else wrong. There's nothing else for which you can blame us men. We've been too easy, and that's it. Everything else we can put on them. But I did state that unfortunately, being too easy is an umbrella under which many details still fall. And one of the details is the stupidity we have allowed in the wicked witches of the West. We have tolerated and allowed so much stupidity. See, when men are just that doggone mother cuss word stupid, women actually find these men repulsive unless they're stupid and they're violent or criminals. Now, if they're stupid and they get some sort of social status because of their stupidity, yeah, that's different. But I mean, you just a regular guy saying something that's dumb, they look down on you for it. They see you as just being plain old stupid, right? Gentlemen, think about that. They see you as just being plain old stupid. They shut you out. Why have we not done the same thing to them when they say something equally stupid? And this is not the first stupid thing that we've heard them say and either be joined by the bulk of the rest of them or at least not be challenged. The reactions to them saying something this stupid, our reactions to them saying something that's stupid versus their reactions to us saying things that are intelligent are reason enough that frankly the population dip of the Western and developed nations is 2 generations too late. It should have started way back when. But the reason that their stupidity started was because we men were not punishing their stupidity with reproductive boycotts. Now I'm going to go into male chastity. Gentlemen, either you will, on your own initiative, practice male chastity, or they're going to put you into true force loneliness as a default, which is what we're already seeing. When I push it, stop telling me that guys are young and it's not possible. No, see, they're already pushing you into the same effect that you don't want. They're already doing that. What I'm saying is you get in front of that and you take that bull by the horns and you steer that bull where you want it to go. You don't let them take that bike and run over you with the bike. You jump in front of that bike, grab the steering wheel, and now you steer it the way that you want it to go. Because already what it is that most of you, when you were young, will try to meet their approval because they're not honest enough to tell you that they're just shutting out most of you and nothing you do is going to work. So you spend time and intelligence and resources trying to meet their approval, and then later on you've worked hard, you've taken care of yourself for many years, but you don't have enough of a savings to actually enjoy life because you were trying to meet their approval. Whereas if you practice male chastity on your end, that means you get to take certain other initiatives to make it easy. You ain't befriending them. You may friend zone some of them because they don't like it, but you're not going to let them friend zone you. That means they can't call you at night. You don't clap them cheeks, but they call you to come change their tire. Nope, Shuck that fit. My tire's busted. Listen. I'm not happy your tire's busted. You know what? I've always had this fantasy about clapping cheeks on the roadside. So you get wet, get ready. I'll come out there when we're done. I'm gonna change that tire. What? Never mind then. Okay, never mind. I'm going back to sleep. Click. And to be honest with you, you shouldn't be willing to give it up that easily on the side of a road. You just have to put that idea out there because you got to make them understand that this is that you matter. That's really all it is. And so with that being said, either you get out in front of that and you take control of this to where they don't even feel comfortable enough coming to you to ask you for things, and have you spending time and money and energy. And in this way, later on, years later, when you work many years and taking care of yourself and be responsible, you will find that you have saved up a lot more and you have enhanced your quality of life. The other option is they put you in that category anyway, and while you're trying to approve of an exit from that category, or you're trying to be approved and qualify to get out of that category, they're just steady siphoning resources from you. You work hard, just as hard. Actually, you work harder than otherwise. And you look up years later and you still don't have even a lot of resources saved up. And the quality of your life is not enhanced. You've been spinning wheels. Male chastity, gentlemen. Exactly what you think you cannot do is what you must do. Male chastity. I recommend you do it for the sake of God anyway and watch the blessings that He gives. That's my advice to you. And you'll see the blessings. And the more time goes on, the more of them you will see. Notice I'm not preaching celibacy. I'm not preaching even lifelong abstinence. That's celibacy. I'm not preaching 9AY stuff. I'm against all those things. But you will not be sitting up here just making that particular part of your life too easy to give to them, let alone your resources. Thanks for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Out. As always, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power. Just because they don't like it, black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day, and don't tolerate any of their stupidity anymore.